Very warm welcome, everybody, to Beyond the Bell. I am Kate Abdo. Welcome back up here. Shawn Porter, Chris Mannix. Welcome to the weed cloud, by the way. Come sober, you will leave high. It's just a little gift from here, from San Francisco. Let's talk about this one because, wow, I think I've never personally seen a fight that was a shutout in that way. I've also never witnessed a fight where the commentators and you guys calling the fight were all equally as in awe of a fighter's performance.
We just had nothing different to say in a situation like that. Look, I anticipated coming into this fight that Devin Haney would win a decision. I even thought it was going to be a wide decision, 9-3 type. I never anticipated we'd be talking about a complete shutout where the only knockdown of the fight came from Devin Haney. I mean, this was an absolute boxing clinic. Regis Prograis has a tremendous left hand. He didn't land any of them. He didn't land many punches at all. 36 punches Regis Prograis landed in this fight. And while Devin Haney was being a defensive wizard, he was landing some power shots. He put Regis down once. He buckled him several more times. Shawn, I've seen some good performance from Devin Haney. This one, clearly the best.
What did I say when we were up here? What don't you like about Devin Haney? And especially tonight, the mix of offense and defense. I mean, it was as close to 50-50 as it can be, and that's what boxing is. Boxing is about hitting and not getting hit. He was able to hit when he wanted to, and practically never got hit the entire fight. Nothing clean enough to stun him, hurt him, make him think any different of what he was doing whatsoever. Pitched a shutout, and to your point, you know, when we were down there calling it, we're both like, all of us are kind of like wide-eyed at how in control and how present in the moment Devin Haney truly was, and it was a magnificent performance, nothing less than that.
I mean, his composure is something that's been really consistent throughout his young career, right? He's the kind of guy that can go at that young age over to Australia and beat George Kambosos over there and become undisputed. He can fight a modern-day great in Lomachenko, and then he can come home in front of a hometown. All that pressure that a hometown crowd brings, 16,000 people here, who, by the way, were very much here for Haney. All that talk about this isn't really your home, you're not really from the Bay Area, they were here for him tonight.
And listen, everybody talks about him not being from the Bay. Guess what? Even if he ain't, his father is. It's a team, all right? And people used to always ask me what made me so successful. Right there, that father and that son, a lot like myself and my dad, they have this connection where when they go to the ring, this game plan that they put together, ain't nothing gonna happen that's gonna pull them away from one another and pull them away from what they planned to do, and they went in and they executed. I was seeing a lot of, I understand that focus. I could see in his eyes where it comes from. There were moments where like, why didn't he go get him? It's very responsible of him to not go get him. Then after the fight, you hear him say, I was listening to my dad. My dad said, not yet, don't go. And I don't do what my dad, I don't do anything that my dad doesn't instruct me to do. So when you see this performance and how magnificent and almost flawless he was, you got to credit the team, the dad. That camaraderie right there is what has led him to do everything he did tonight.
Look, I said before the fight, Devin Haney is among the most disciplined fighters, you know, in the game today. Certainly one of, not the most disciplined young fighter in the game today. When he gets a game plan, he sticks to it. It's almost impossible to get him to deviate from that game plan. He's only become better at that as he's gotten a little bit older. And this fight, he clearly had a game plan. Move to the left of Regis Prograis to stay away from that left hand. Keep sticking with that right hand, not get overeager, not get over anxious. The couple of times that he had Prograis hurt, I think a different fighter might have rushed in, tried to flurry, look for a big shot. That's how you get into trouble against punchers like Regis Prograis. Devin Haney didn't do that. He was disciplined all night long, and that's why he walked away with a flawless victory.
I had a friend Texans tell me that Devin Haney doesn't have killer instinct. It's not about him not having killer instinct, but that's not really his style. That's not what he's accustomed to. So for him to rush in and try to dig and do these other things that I don't train to do, it just doesn't make sense to him. Therefore, he doesn't have the mindset to do that.
Well, look, we made the Mayweather comparison before the show, and look, Devin Haney is not there yet. Don't worry, Devin Haney is not on that Mayweather level yet. But for age 25 and under, he is as accomplished as Floyd Mayweather was, or at least on par with a lot of those accomplishments. Look around. Look, Floyd Mayweather, look, he landed big shots, took chances when he had to, but he never deviated from his game plan either. Him and his father had a great game plan. Him and his uncle had great game plans. So, Devin Haney is kind of following that path, and he's following it incredibly successful.
It was really interesting to hear how he answered your question about what's next, right? Because if you remember yesterday when we were in the fighter meetings with them, when we kind of pushed them on what do you do after this fight if you get the win? Do you stay at 140? Do you look to mop up all the belts? They were not keen to be drawn on that question. They're clearly very much considering the idea of going to 147. That's a very real prospect for them.
It's a real prospect. I'd like to see them stay at 140 because I think it is the best division in all of boxing. I think there are some huge money fights for him. Look, I mentioned Tank Davis on the broadcast. I think a Devin Haney-Tank Davis fight is enormous. Tank Davis, one of the biggest stars in all of boxing. Devin Haney, among the most accomplished, especially amongst younger fighters. That would do a huge gate. It would do a great number on pay-per-view.
At what weight?
At 140. Like, Tank fought at 140 before. He came up to fight Mario Barrios, won a secondary title. There's no reason Tank can't come up a few pounds to fight Devin Haney. Look, the talk around Tank Davis is that he might fight Isaac Cruz in a rematch. I reiterate what I said down there. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to see Tank Davis against Isaac Cruz Part 2, except for Isaac Cruz and Shawn Gibbons. It's as simple as that. So I just think if Tank Davis wants a big fight and he wants a fight that can generate a huge amount of money, we're looking at the guy he can go up against.
Let's talk about the co-main as well, because that was an interesting fight between Liam Paro and Montana Love. Montana Love obviously came into this fight really looking to re-establish himself. He said it's kind of wanted to reboot after having taken a loss in the last fight. That definitely didn't happen for him, Chris. This was a bad loss.
No, look, Liam Paro is now a player in the 140-pound division. I didn't know what to make of Liam Paro coming into this fight. Yeah, he had that big win over Brock Jarvis, but what was Brock Jarvis coming into that fight? Montana Love is not elite at 140, but he's decent at least at 140. In the 6th round, Liam Paro just beat him down. I would love to see Liam Paro in with any of the top guys at 140, including someone like Richardson Hitchens, maybe someone like Arnold Barboza. There is a lot of opportunity for Liam Paro now after getting a win like this.
One of the other fights that we saw, the second fight of night, was featured the former amateur standout Andy Cruz from Cuba. Wowee, huh? That was another really nice performance.
I mean, listen, just beautiful. Just beautiful boxing. Again, we know the levels that he's on right now. This was only his second professional boxing match, but he showed why it's important to have an amateur pedigree. Not only that, he showed his amateur pedigree, multi-time Olympic champion, multi-Pan American champion. If you guys don't know what that means he's fighting against the world all the time. So he's coming to the professional ranks. He's going to be on a fast track. And right here, he showed exactly why he's on the fast. Who the hell throws a double uppercut and lands it nonetheless like that? So, I mean, again, we know what level competition was he was going up against, but it won't be any less than this against just
we saw between Andy Cruz and Devin Haney, we saw great examples of power boxing. Yeah. This wasn't stick, move, and run. This was power boxing. Andy Cruz, what impressed me the most was while he was landing those power shots, he was able to step back. He stayed out of the way of big shots coming back at him. Look, going to Philadelphia and working with Bozianis was the right move. Mm-hmm. Going to a gym where they just teach a pro style, where you're going to learn to sit down your punches. I saw exponential improvement from Andy Cruz between the first fight and his most recent fight. He was really good against Juan Carlos Burgos, but he didn't sit down his punches. This kid right here sat down his punches. He is going to be a problem for anybody at 135.
And he's escalating quickly. How quickly do you see him getting to that point that he can contend?
Well, he's going to, and Shawn knows this, he's going to run into the problem of guys saying no. Like, you're going to have to offer me like $1 million to get into the ring with Andy Cruz, and I get that. You know the fight that I'd like to see Andy Cruz in? How about Andy Cruz against Oscar Duarte, the guy we just saw last weekend against Ryan Garcia? I would like to see Andy Cruz in against a guy that's going to come to make him fight. Oscar Duarte probably going to go back to 135, maybe looking for another marquee fight. That's a good one for Andy Cruz.
Wow, and if you're fast-tracking him like that, that's the next thing for him is an Oscar Duarte, and I think what you get from there is what he would need, someone who can get him rounds, who can make him make some small adjustments and he's not gonna just have his way until the fight ends. Duarte right there will push him and kind of, challenge him in some respects, yeah.
What about the first fight of the night, Ebony Bridges losing her title to Miyo Yoshida? Just an incredible upset story for Miyo Yoshida.
Hey, I was in New York just over a month ago when Yoshida lost to Sharetta Metcalf, and it was a physical fight. That's why I was shocked when Yoshida took this fight.
Did you give her much of a chance?
No, because, look, she's not a natural 118. Ebony Bridges has been at 118 for some time now. She is the bigger, more naturally, physically gifted fighter. But Yoshida, who told us during the fighter meetings that she was going to stick and move and use angles, just was a bulldozer in the middle of the ring. She took that fight straight to Ebony Bridges and really dominated that fight from start to finish. I'm so impressed by what I saw from Yoshida tonight.
We got two things. She expected to stick and move, but then the adjustment or whatever that Bridges made, she didn't go after Rashida, and I think that obviously it didn't work for her. Rashida sees that she's not coming and realizes, hey, I'm strong. I can stick with this young lady, and I can push her back. And I mean, that girl showed herself to be a good boxer tonight.
And, you know, beginning with that fight and continuing on, you had great fights with great action, the last 3 finishing by knockout. I think that's important when you're trying to open up a market like this. There hasn't been a big fight in San Francisco more than a decade, really. Not in the Bay Area since Andre Ward was fighting here out in Oakland. You have all these fans coming into the building. New fans, probably. Casual fans, most likely. You want to show them something. Yeah. Every one of these fans that came for the final 4 fights of this card tonight, they left happy. They had to have left happy because you saw great action, you saw great skill, you saw a whole mix of everything. So I think that was important because you know that Eddie Hearn, Devin Haney, they're going to want to come back here.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't come back here if you put out a stinker because you're not going to get the same level of fans.
No, this really was. It was a great card, and DAZN's schedule in boxing is just unrivaled. December 23rd is the date that you do need to have in your diaries. One of the biggest and the best fight cards in recent memory. It is headlined by Anthony Joshua in a tough matchup against Otto Wallin that Anthony Joshua absolutely has to win. He told Ade Oladipo why.
Wilder.
Yeah?
Yeah, but they said that, well, I kind of put it on the table. We spoke about it when I met Turkey, me and the team, and it was just like, let's look at a map. And the map's not a long road map. But
it isn't a long road one, you're right, but there'll be some, including myself as a fight fan, that will say, 1 second, so AJ's here, Wilder's here.
You see what's
December
going on.
23rd.
You see what's going on.
Why can't they meet now? Like, we've been waiting 5 years for this one. Why can't we see AJ Wilder now?
Because of the magnitude of that fight. You know, this is a card. We're presenting you a card here.
Yeah.
Now you talk about a fight. That's where certain things, with a card like this, you could do it in a week.
It's an incredible night of action that we have coming up for you December 23rd. It was fun to be back with you. Nice to see you again. Nice to see you too. Thank you so much. Enjoyed the company. There is more great action coming up for you on DAZN next week as well. Friday night sees the return of the problem child, Jake Paul. He faces Andre August in Orlando. Then the following evening, Jesse Bam Rodriguez against Sonny Edwards in a flyweight title unification in the biggest fight in that division. You can join Ade Oladipo and the rest of the DAZN crew for that one. Thank you for joining us tonight. There is a bunch of great fights ahead for you on DAZN. We will see you for the next one. Good night, everybody.